Hi and welcome to our financial episodes and financial literacy or managing finances. It's your girl, Boss Queen Shuki, and you're watching Girl Boss. Today we're talking about something very interesting and it's about change. Have you been looking to change? This theory is going to elevate more about, it's going to enlighten us more about how to deal with change, how people change, and how others do not change, and how it affects our lives. Okay, so without doing any further explanations, let's dive into today's topic, which is change and its management. Earlier, when I was doing my MBA, as an MBA student, I got across a book. It's called Home of My Cheese. This book is a really, really nice book, and I think you would really want to read it because it talks about two mice, and it's actually a book from Mason, from Spencer. Well, I'm just here to remind you to hit the subscribe button down below in case you've not yet done so, just so that you don't miss any of his content that is coming your way. Spencer Johnson. Spencer Johnson. The book is from Spencer Johnson and it tells us about change and how to manage it, how people deal with change, how do you cope with change, and how it can affect your life if you don't cope with it. Because this is something we know that is a constant in life. Change is the only constant we know in life. The rest are, you know, they change and they're all variables. So this is the only thing that doesn't change, and that's change. What is it? What is change? So this book talks about two mice that had cheese. Cheese, call cheese something you want to achieve in life. Let it be money, let it be a girlfriend, a relationship, a job. It could be anything nice. It could be a bungalow. It could be a house. It could be a home. It could be a property, gold, or anything you want to achieve. That is your cheese. Now, in this book, it talks about these two mice were they would always go in the morning. They would always put on their boots and go to these cheese stations, and it was in a maze. You know how a maze is? It's full of like very many corners, very many corridors. Like you literally don't know where to start. You don't know where to go because it is all a mess. Okay, so you literally have to run this way, run this way, run the other side, just to see where you can get maybe something. So in this maze, these two mice would always run out with their boots, very happy and excited, and because they knew they would always find cheese. In this case, let's take an example of cheese is maybe a job. So you really love this job and you're very enthusiastic about the job when you've just gotten it. So these two mice would always head out, they put on their boots and run into the maze. And they one day found this very huge cheese station, which was so nice. Okay, so they ate it and they were like, we finally found our piece. We've been looking the whole time, and every time cheese runs out, this is the very biggest cheese that we've ever found. And indeed, it was the very biggest cheese they have ever found. But it was until some time, because they consumed this cheese and they would always go back every day, and they eat the cheese. They didn't smell the cheese, whether it was going bad, whether it was reducing or not. They didn't notice that. And this is why the book is educating us about this change, because what it means, these mice kept on eating the cheese every day, and they didn't notice it was getting bad. They didn't notice it was reducing in number, in the quality, in the quantity, because they thought it was going to be there forever. This could be a job. If you're thinking you can be there, you're going to be there with your job, you're going to be with money all the time. No, this is what we're going to do. Think about it this way. Think about it as this cheese. This was a cheese station and it kept on reducing, and with no time, they came a day and the mice came and there was no cheese. Totally no cheese. The cheese was all done and gone. And they didn't notice because they didn't plan for it. They didn't know where the cheese came from. They thought it would always be there forever. And this is the very big mistake everyone does. You've ever done it before, I know. So, in this book, it tells us having cheese makes you happy. Having that thought, that dream, that enthusiastic feel about what you want makes you feel happy. Okay? That is a known thing. It makes you feel happy. Every time you think of having a Lamborghini, having a Bentley, having these nice cars, a nice home, a very good relationship, a job, it could be anything. Every time you draw that picture in your mind, it gives you like it gives you the you be happy, you're literally happy. And after after making you happy, what do? Do not be comfortable that you're having the cheese or you've gotten the cheese, or in the process of you having the job, you having this one thing that you want to have. Don't be so comfortable. Smell the cheese more often so you know when it's getting old. The very biggest problem the mice did was because they weren't smelling the cheese. They didn't know it was going bad. They did not know it was running out because they didn't monitor. They kept on eating. They didn't budget. They didn't plan. They didn't know where it came from. So they had no idea of how to keep the cheese station and how to budget for it until it ran out and they had nothing to do. So they had to go back to the maze and look for more cheese stations or for more cheese so they can survive, because without the cheese they were going to die. Because if you're a mouse and you don't have the cheese, then you don't have importance, you don't have what to eat, you're not going to survive. So they had to go out in all ways to look for more cheese. So this one mouse, I don't remember the names, but there were two mice, so let's call one A, another one B. So mouse A kept on having the same spirit it had. It would always wake up in the morning, put on his boots and run out in the maze. And yeah, he was so excited because he knew this is not the end of life. You need to, if this cheese station is done and out of cheese, you're not going to remain in a cheeseless situation. You need to look for more cheese. He would always run out and very excited in going to the maze. This mouse B, he stayed at the cheese station in a very cheeseless situation. Here, if it's your job, you've been demoted, you've been fired, but you're still choosing to remain in the same situation. You're going to go there, you sleep on your couch, you start lamenting. People don't mind, people don't care. But guess what? It's not going to help. You just need to be like have the spirit of mouse A, because for him every single day, despite the setback, despite the thing that happened without him knowing, he just kept on moving, and with a very jolly soul. He kept on moving, he kept the spirit, because he knew if he stayed there, they're not going to survive. They were going to die. He needed the cheese to be purposeful. You need your cheese to feel happy. You need to have the cheese to know that life is moving well. If you don't have cheese, then there's no meaning to life. So this mouse B stayed on the cheese station that was already empty. He stayed there. Mouse A would always run out every morning and go take him some cheese. He's like, oh, I have a friend. I left a friend at our old cheese station. He would always find some very small bits of cheese. But remember, this other cheese that got done, it was really big and they thought it would never get done. And it was a surprise to them when it got done. So when it got done, they didn't know what to do. The rest of the pieces they would find were very, very small, and they couldn't sustain them for a long time. So they had to keep on moving every day to look for other cheese stations. And these cheese stations were literally very small. They were smaller than the other one they had. Okay, the moral of okay, before the moral, yeah. So the quicker this mouse A started to look for more cheese, the quicker he got over the old cheese, the sooner he found new cheese, because he kept on going, and in the process he found new cheese. And it made him happy. When he found new cheese, he would always come back with the small bits and give to his friend who stayed at this cheeseless situation. But he was very reluctant and he was like, no, I want the old cheese. Who took our cheese? Let them bring it back. Who put our cheese? Who took our cheese? But in the beginning, he didn't know who put the cheese there. He just found the cheese one morning, and he's like, oh, I'm so lucky. Oh, I'm so lucky. That was his statement. Oh, I'm so lucky we found this cheese station. It will never get done. Now, that could be you with your job. That could be you with your partner. That could be you with anything that you call valuable or anything that you see valuable in this life. Okay? So don't get too comfortable with whatever you have. Don't hold on to it too much, thinking and it will never go away, or thinking it will never change. No, this mentality is going to drain you when that thing goes away. So this book just teaches you how quick you have to move on and how happy you're going to be. The quicker you move on, the happier you are. rather than staying in the other situation of Mouse B, who remained there, and he was feeling so bad and he couldn't do anything about it. But he was there and he was at the verge of dying because he wasn't eating. Even when they brought him the small pieces, he was reluctant. He wasn't eating. And guess what? It can even kill you because you're depressed, you're so devastated, you didn't expect it. It came out of the blue. But remember, all these things came on. If they were very vigilant and very keen on noticing the size of the cheese, they would have noticed that it was changing and they would have noticed it was becoming small. But the mere fact that they were blind to it, they were blinded by the fact that it was very big and it would never run out. Now, this was the problem, and this is what brought them problems or mayhem. I won't continue the story, but that's just a bit of the story. This Mouse B, he forever remained there, thinking somebody who bought the other cheese is going to come back and put more cheese for him, which never happened because no one was going to save him. He had to save himself. And Mouse A kept on going, and he was very happy. Every morning he was very, very happy. Every morning he would head out with his boots, very excited to look for more cheese because it made him happy. And he knew deep down in his head that it's himself going to take him up to it's him that is going to take himself out of the situation he was in, which was a cheeseless situation. So if you are broke right now, don't think you're going to get money abruptly. Don't think there's a miracle going to happen when you're doing nothing about it. It's not going to happen. Things don't work like that. Don't think there's someone going to come and help you or come and rescue you from the situation. No one is coming to your rescue. Everyone has their own problems and they're dealing with their own things. So you have to save yourself from that situation you're in. You have to take yourself from that situation you're in and take yourself to a better one that you want. But that all comes with the motivation, and be happy and be glad that at least you have one thing going. And then it also says it's safer to search in the maze than to remain in a cheeseless situation. You see, Mouse A, it was safe for him to search or to continue going every morning because at least he wasn't staying hungry. He was sleeping with a full belly because he would find those small particles of the cheese and he would eat. Mouse B had nothing to eat because he wasn't moving. He wasn't looking for anything and he barely couldn't survive. Okay? I don't know if that English is right, but yeah, we will. So he was just there. He remained there. He didn't change. So this brings us to the moral of the story. Change happens in whichever situation change happens. And this happens in whichever way you can think of it. Change happens. But despite the fact that it happens, you need to anticipate it. You need to cater for change. If you're in a situation, don't think it's going to be like that forever. If you have a bad job, if you're suffering at your job, or if you're earning little money, you're broke, you're having a situation you can't get yourself out of, it's not permanent. Remember, it's not permanent. You still have something to do about it. And anticipate that it will change. At least have it in your mind that it's going to change. And that's how it's going to change. After anticipating this change, you'll have to monitor. You're going to monitor how the change happens. Monitor step by step. If even one thing changes a bit, monitor it and note it down. At least put it in your head. You're like, oh, this changed. Acknowledge it. This is going to help you prepare yourself mentally and also take other steps or prepare other steps you're going to take after that change has happened. Then, after you anticipating the change, you monitor the change. What are you going to do? Adapt to the change very quickly. The kicker is quickly. Adapting to change can be very, very tricky with very many people because many people are reluctant to change and they're very poor at managing change. But you want to be that person who adapts to change very quickly because the quicker you hop onto something is the quicker you adopt and adjust. But the more you crouch onto something and you stay in the past is the more you're going to suffer, the more you will get depressed, the more you lose out. So the quicker you move is the quicker you are safe and you are better. Then the next step after you adapting to the change is the change. Now you get those changes you've made, you change. All of you change. Okay? After you've adapted to the change, you're now comfortable with it. Now you also change your personality, you change your ways, you change your everything. You can also change. Now that's the thing. And then after you changing, the next step is enjoying your change. Because after you getting the cheese, you've gotten the cheese, let's say after adopting to the change, now this is your cheese. After adopting to your cheese is the part where you get the cheese you've been chasing. So after adopting to it, now you have to enjoy your cheese. After you changing, you have to enjoy it. Enjoy your luxury if you've gotten the luxury. Enjoy your money if you've gotten the money. Enjoy your good body if you've gotten the good body. This is the time you enjoy after you changing, or after you realizing the change that has come into your life, or that has you've made systematically. Then you enjoy it, because this is the end goal that you've been waiting for. It's the end product of what you've been hustling for. So it's time now to enjoy it. And now, that's not the last step about the change. The next step about the change is you have to be ready and quickly. You have to be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again. You repeat the same process. Even when you get the change, or even when you get that cheese that you've been wanting, you get the money, you're enjoying it now. Do not stop at enjoying it and you stop hustling. No, you repeat the same process. You repeat the same process. Every time you get cheese, you do the same process again. You change, you monitor, first you anticipate, you monitor, you adopt, and then you change. After changing, you enjoy the change. And this is how life moves. And when you get this, it will be very easy for you to adapt to any change that happens. Be it at work, be it in relationships, be it with family, be it with anything tangible, anything you call your goal, anything you want to achieve, or anything you put up here. If you have this simple system in your head, it's like change happens. Yeah, I acknowledge that change happens. Then you anticipate the change, yes. And then you monitor the change, yeah. And then you adapt to the change quickly. Now this is what is going to make you a step better than what you are right now. Trust me, I'm a different person ever since I read that book. It's called Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. It's really a good book. I recommend it. If you've not understood my explanation very well, you can just as well look for it. And guess what? You'll be impressed and you'll be fired up, and you will know nothing is unachievable. You're going to achieve all the things you want, because this is just something that can change your mind a bit and change your approach to whatever you're doing. And the approach is what you want, because if you've been doing something the wrong way, you could just switch up something small and you do it better, and you become a better person. You hear me? And the last quote I got from it was, don't get too comfortable or scared to change. Now this comes to my dear lovely ones. Those of you who feel comfortable with your jobs, mostly in the corporate world. I do work in the corporate world. I know what happens there. There's a team of people I work with, or I worked with in the past. You find these people, they've worked there for 10 years, 8 years, and they don't think of anything. They don't have another step. You ask someone, you're like, what's your goal? Or like, if you stop working here, then what next? And they don't have anything to tell you. And this brings us back to this topic. I think you need this. And if you think there's someone out there that really would love to hear this or would need this, kindly do share this video with them, because it's going to help you, it's going to help them, and it's going to help all of us at once to change our mindset and to achieve our goals that we've set, that are seemingly far from us, yet they're very near. I would want to see us elevate. I would want to see us get things we think we cannot get. I would want to see us prove people wrong. I would want to see us change whichever thing that we think it cannot be changeable. And this is my simple tip I use for change. And those of you who think all those people who made the money or all those rich people are any different, they're not any different. It's only their mindsets that are different from ours. If your mindset is poor, then guess what? You're going to be poor. Enrich your mindset by getting knowledge, by reading books, read books, look for audiobooks, look for podcasts, look for every reading material. At least enlighten yourself. Read something new every day, get a skill you can do, and life moves like that. If you've enjoyed this topic, kindly let me know in the comment section. And if you want more of these kinds of videos, kindly let me know as well so that I can get the motivation to do such content for you guys. And hope to see you soon. See you for now.